very generous-spirited woman who let me sit in on rehearsals, production meetings, did initiatives, counting down, which let me understand that anything is possible if you put your mind to it and do not limit your dreams. Because, come on. Thank you, Coleman. Because of Emily Mann, dramatists like me had and still have a future. She has paved the way for people to live outside of binaries, outside of limitations, and outside of the fear and risk aversion that sometimes limits people from catching their dreams. I am so grateful to have the distinct honor to speak on Emily Mann's behalf. Recently, I was at a meeting. I won't say where, and I won't say when. But the meeting was about what couldn't happen, or what I had to wait for to happen some other time. And Emily was in a different meeting. See, I won't say where it was, because that may give it away. Emily was in a different meeting, and she was sitting near me. And after I had been told no in one chair, my eyes lit up because I found yes sitting right there. We hadn't spoken in a couple of years, but just seeing her allowed me to remember the limitlessness that she instilled in me 20 years ago. When I graduated from Princeton, I said, one day, I want to be like Emily Mann. And Emily, I hope you know that every day since then, I have done everything within my power to not only achieve that limitlessness for myself, but to share and pay forward that perspective to the next generation, because somebody else needs to hear what you told me. Alongside Emily was another mentor of mine, the great Mara Isaacs, who sat in a desk not far from Emily's, also at McCarter Theater, and taught producing. It is our distinct pleasure tonight to welcome to this stage the great Mara Isaacs to give some further remarks about the life, the work, and the continued imagination of Emily Mann. Please help me welcome.
In his introduction to an anthology of her plays, the great Mann said, "More than any other American writer of our time, the body of her work has demonstrated the central importance of theater to the psychic well-being and sanity of a society." Her first play, The Numa, an autobiography, gave testimony to the experience of a Jewish Holocaust survivor and laid the groundwork for what would become a new genre of documentary theater, or theater of testimony. Soon after, she created the landmark plays Still Life, which examined the after effects of the Vietnam War through a most intimate lens, and Execution of Justice, which chronicled the trial of Dan White after he assassinated Mayor George Moscone and Harvey Milk in San Francisco. Whether through a delightful visit with the centenarian Delaney sisters and having our say, the nearly forgotten massacre of unarmed demonstrators in 1979 in Greensboro, Oregon, or her more recent theatrical explorations of the life of Gloria Steinem, Emily has always been tenacious in unearthing truths, giving voice to untold stories, and reclaiming the stage as a place for consciousness raising. Her 8 original plays, 2 musicals, 11 adaptations would have been enough, but there's more. And if time allowed, and thank you, I know it's a late night, I will stay close to my 2 minutes. I would regale you about her ceiling-shattering work as a director, or her devotion to uplifting other talented playwrights, directors, actors, and designers over her 30-year tenure as artistic director at the Dramatist Guild. I had the great privilege of working alongside Emily as McClure's producing director for 18 of those 30 seasons. McClure was a home for writers because it was led by one. Her impact spans multiple generations of artists, many of whom are in this room tonight. I have no doubt we will see more from her, but for now, please join me in celebrating Emily Mann for a lifetime of remarkable achievement.
Now, I knew Mara was going to speak. Roger was a complete surprise. And one of the things I had wanted to speak about tonight was something that my husband always said that I would be most proud of, and that was mentorship. And thank you, Roger, for that beautiful tribute, and thank you, Mara. You know me better than anyone in the American theater scene, my family. I want to thank the Guild, of course, for this extraordinary honor. The highest honor, really. Because for me, there is no higher honor than to be recognized by my peers, the people in the theater I most admire, and those are my fellow playwrights. And to be honored tonight with Chris is so very moving, and I thank you. Thank you, Lloyd, for all you've done. Not to be a downer, but as I was walking up here tonight, or clumping up here tonight with my broken foot, I was reminded of earlier times. I wonder if other women of my generation have a similar story or set of stories. When I was graduating from college, and I realized it just stuns me to be this old. 50 years ago, probably to the day, when I was graduating from college, and I had spent my entire undergraduate life writing, directing, acting, and basically running the student theater. I was wondering what my path should be next. As my male peers were doing, I hadn't even noticed they were males, we were all working together, but they were wondering, do I go to the West Coast and go into film, or do I go, to New York or to Yale or something like that and start a career in the theater? And so I asked my advisor at the theater what he thought I should do. And he said, "Oh, Emily, pointed deer. But women do not write or direct professionally in theater or film.
Whoa.
Women go into children's theater. My head exploded. I bit my tongue, but you can imagine that this is 1974. I was just talking like the street. You know what I was going to say. I said to myself, well, that's too late. You told me too late. I've been raised by a mother and father who were early feminists. They told me I could do whatever I wanted to do. At this point, Gloria Steinem, my great heroine, was telling women they could do whatever they wanted to do with their lives. And so I said, watch me. Advisor wrong. I applied to become a fellow at the Guthrie Theater. You may wonder why I didn't think West Coast or Yale. The West Coast, there were no women directing and writing at that time in film. I had heard, she will remain nameless, the problems that women who were at Yale at the time were having as directors. So I said, I'm going to go to Midwest. And I applied to the Guthrie Theater for a fellowship and was fortunate to be accepted as the first woman in the program. I arrived and the then artistic director, Michael Mann, told me the same thing my advisor at college had told me. Women, he was British, cannot direct or write professionally. And we added, those who try are either hysterical or dykes. Which are you? I had no breath to answer, but then I finally looked in the eye and said, both. Hard work, not in the Guthrie, but in the community, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The wonderful Alvin Epstein took over from Michael Mann. He looked at my work in the community and he said, I want you to direct on the Guthrie main stage. We all need people who will give us that faith and that opportunity. Thank goodness he also let me cast the great Barbara Bryn, and I also got to have Mincho, the iconic designer, who made me an artist. Blessedly, it was a great success, though the headline was Man First Woman to direct on the I soon moved to New York, where I discovered my college advisor wasn't wrong. Very few women were directing or writing on New York stages in 1979. In fact, there were none on Broadway, and very few even off-Broadway. So my second big thanks from the bottom of my heart goes to Julia Miles and the Women's Project. She produced my play Still Life that won the Obies that year. But I thank her for my whole generation of women. Because without Julia and the Women's Project, my whole generation would never have been produced. I also want to thank the McCarter Theater Center for my 30 years as artistic director and resident playwright. They took a big risk hiring me even in 1990. I was a single mother with a history of political, provocative, and controversial plays in my history, and I had a mission to support the work of women and people of color. They stood by me. The headline was again, "Man, First Woman." She would lead the McCarter Theater, and this is 1990, right? And they stuck with me even after I premiered the rhythm and blues musical I co-authored with Ntozake Shange and by Keita Carroll called Betsy Brown.
Yes.
Oh, yes, all right, thank you, all right. And the headline was, "That woman should be run out of town on a rail." Unpack that little sentence. But I had a fantastic board. I had a fantastic managing director, Jeffrey Woodward, who got together with the board, and they called the editor of that particular reviewer and called him out on his racism and misogyny, and that man never reviewed again. I was able to write 15 new plays and adaptations and direct over 50 productions over 30 years. But I'm most happy that I was able to support the work of beloved colleagues from emerging playwrights at that time, like Terrell McCraney and Denai Guerrero, and also support legends who had been left by the wayside. At that time, Edward Albee, Athol Fugel, Christopher Durang, and then to find the great Neil Cruz. I was also blessed to have by my side Mara Isaacs, whom I have to thank again, not only for the great direction, Mara, your support and incomparable work and love sustained me and continues to sustain me to this day. I also have to thank my husband and family for supporting me through the highest highs and the lowest lows. But I would be remiss tonight if I did not mention how imperiled I think we all are as playwrights at this moment in time. Just give me a moment. As thrilled as I am to see how far women and people of color have come in these decades, and most recently for people of color in the last few years, I think we are facing together, as all of us as playwrights, a two-fold emergency. And these two challenges are two sides of the same coin. The first, Robert Schenkin mentioned, the first problem silencing playwrights right now is censorship. You may know that the Laramie Project, an incredible play by Moises Kaufman and his company, about the murder of a young gay man in Laramie, Wyoming, has been censored. Romeo and Juliet, for teenage sex and love, I guess. Three Sisters by Chekhov, I think for adultery. Tracy Letz's August Osage County, I have no idea why. The Diary of Anne Frank, I know why. These plays and many more are being banned and suppressed in schools, libraries, and theaters across our country by the far right. It will only get worse, unless there's a miracle. But I don't see it coming. Maybe you do. The second, of course, is lack of funding. We always have problems with lack of funding, but now theaters are shuttering. Not-for-profit theaters are producing less and less new work, and risky new work, necessary new work, provocative new work. We have to come together, as we've heard tonight, but I think it is an urgent call. We have to come together as a community. The people in this room, we have so many resources, so much brilliance in this room. We have to find new ways of financially supporting individual playwrights so we can work and be funded as we work. We need to find new ways to support the theaters and producers that support us. I think we're fighting not just for ourselves, but I believe for the very soul of our nation. I want to quote James Shapiro in the New York Times from a couple of weeks ago. He said, since the ancient Greeks, theater and democracy are mutually dependent. It's where we debate differing views of society until those in power pivot from suppressing theater to investing in it. It's not just the arts, but democracy itself that is vulnerable. I want to thank the Dramatist Guild, Lloyd's son, and the Dramatist Guild Awards Committee tonight, and all the theater makers in this room dedicated to fulfilling the twin mission of keeping both theater as an art form and democracy alive. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Please welcome to the stage our closing performance, Jaime Lozano and